Amazon. Flash briefing.
Jamie, here's the latest from your flash briefing. In NPR News.
Live from NPR News in Washington, I'm Corva Coleman. Congress needs to beat a deadline coming Friday to pass a new government funding bill. Otherwise, the federal government will partially shut down. NPR's Deirdre Walsh says lawmakers are close to a deal. Top negotiators announced they have a deal on a framework for a broad spending bill that would fund federal
no more money.
agencies
Shut them
next
down.
fall. But they're going to need more time to finish the detail. This deal would wrap a dozen bills into one massive package. The House is going to pass a short-term bill today that gives negotiators another week.
A dozen bills
The Senate's
rounded up
expected
into
to
one
take that up
package
before midnight
quickly
on Friday. This means the new deadline for getting that broad bill together moves to next
you're going to
Friday,
pass that
December
bill
23rd,
of a dozen bills at once, or we're going to partially shut down. You people aren't going to get all that money for the holiday.
In the South, it is
Don't fellas freaking make them shut down. Don't let them push through a bunch of bills into one.
Farther north, the storm has triggered blizzard and winter storm warnings. 2 feet of snow are expected in parts of Nebraska, South Dakota, and Wyoming. The wintry weather is now pushing toward the Great Lakes and the Mid-Atlantic. Explosions are being reported today in Ukraine's capital.
Don't let them bully you, Congress.
The pre-dawn blasts were from Russian drones used to attack Kyiv.
Don't let them push through a bunch of bills on you all at once. Don't do it.
Around 6 a.m. The explosions came minutes later, apparently from Ukraine firing air defense systems at the incoming drone. Ukrainian officials said they hit many of their targets. The officials said 2 government buildings were damaged in Kyiv, as were several private homes. In many recent cases, such damage was caused as Russian weapons fell from the sky after being shot down. The Russian military began targeting Ukraine's electricity grid more than 2 months ago. This has led to daily power cuts throughout the country. Greg Myrie, NPR News, Kyiv.
Church bells will ring and schools will be closed in Newtown, Connecticut today. It's been exactly 1 decade since 20 first graders and 6 adults were killed in a mass shooting at the Sandy Hook
Make them
Elementary
shut down
School.
fully that day.
NPR's Tovia Smith
They're
has
trying to
more.
threaten you.
For Jennifer Hensel, who lost her
making you
6-year-old
force you
Avielle in the
pass
shooting,
something.
and then her
They got a
husband
bunch
to
of bills in
suicide.
one.
The big thing about marking 10 years
Do what the people
is
would do.
making it 10
Walk
years.
out.
I honestly think that's a quite remarkable accomplishment. I feel like I'm living again where I wasn't for a really long time.
Her friend, Francine Wheeler, who lost her 6-year-old Ben, has also come a long way in her grief. This so-called anniversary, she says, is just another day she doesn't get to have her son.
It's another day, and we just keep moving forward the best we can.
That includes working to prevent more shootings. Wheeler, through her program fostering children's emotional well-being, and Hensel, promoting research into the brain and violence. Tovia Smith, NPR News.
You're listening to NPR News from Washington.
Research more violence.
The wife of an American soccer journalist has revealed his cause of death last Friday while covering a World Cup soccer match in Qatar. Celine Gounder says her husband, Grant Wall, died of an aortic aneurysm. She disputed any other causes of death and says there was nothing nefarious involved. An autopsy was performed on Wall's body by the New York Medical Examiner's Office. The Library of Congress has released this year's list of 25 films to be preserved on the National Film Registry. NPR's Netta Ulaby reports the list includes a silent movie from the 1800s and a popular animated Disney film.
Nearly 125 years of filmmaking are represented, starting with the silent movie of a Mardi Gras parade from 1898.
Mardi Gras
It
parade.
blends contemporary classics such as Harry Met Sally, House Party, and The Little Mermaid that helped reinvent Disney animated musicals in 1989.
Ariel, listen to me. The human world, it's a mess. Life under the sea.
The Library of Congress also preserved some notable LGBTQ films, including an experimental black and white short from 1963 and a low-budget lesbian drama. Pariah from 2011 is the most
'cause we
recent
need
of this
lesbian
year's
drama.
editions. Netta Ulaby, NPR News.
Scientists say that 2 active volcanoes on Hawaii's Big Island have stopped erupting. They say Kilauea has gone quiet.
Don't preserve the
Lava
drama.
from that volcano destroyed hundreds of homes in 2018. But Mauna Loa has stopped erupting too. That just began releasing lava late last month and had been dormant for nearly 40 years. This is NPR.
Hi, I'm Daniel Alarcon, host of NPR's Spanish language podcast.
Autograph read though, now
This
that's
season,
cool.
Superman flies to Chile for some real-life heroics. A very strange dog becomes front-page news in Peru. Mexican activists infiltrate an Austrian museum to tell the story of a controversial artifact.
Amazon.
And much, much more.
Skip.
In NASA news, 2022 is one for the history books as NASA caps off another astronomical year. NASA's Orion spacecraft splashed down in the Pacific Ocean west of Baja California at 9:39 a.m. PST Sunday after a record-breaking mission, traveling more than 1.4 million miles on a path around the moon and returning safely to Earth, completing the Artemis I flight test.
Come on, man. They didn't go to the
NASA
moon
has
again.
finalized its contract with Boeing of Huntsville,
They're not going down in the
Alabama,
history books
for
for what happened
approximately
this year.
$3.2 billion to continue manufacturing core and upper stages for future Space Launch System, SLS, rockets for Artemis missions to the moon and beyond. Students in Charlevoix, Michigan, will have an opportunity next week to hear from a NASA astronaut living and working aboard the International Space Station. NASA has selected Chenega Global Protection, LLC, of Chantilly, Virginia, to receive the NASA Protective Services Eastern Region contract. In weather. Currently, in Seattle, it's 39 degrees Fahrenheit with cloudy skies. Today, you can expect intermittent clouds, with a high of 43 degrees and a low of 32 degrees. From NASA, 2022 is one for the history books as NASA caps off another astronomical year.
I think I need some water.
NASA's Orion spacecraft splashed down in the Pacific Ocean west
Splashed
of
down,
Baja
yeah, they was jumping
California
here
at
and there.
9:39 a.m. PST Sunday after a record-breaking mission,
Hanging out
traveling
with the
more than 1.4 million miles on a path around the moon and returning safely to Earth, completing the Artemis I flight test.
It was a flight test.
NASA has finalized its contract with Boeing of Huntsville, Alabama, for approximately $3.2 billion to continue manufacturing core and upper stages for future Space Launch System, SLS, rockets for Artemis missions to the moon and beyond.
Okay, well, it's manufacturing of coal, not core.
Students in Charlevoix, Michigan, will have an opportunity next week to hear from a NASA astronaut living and working aboard the International Space Station.
I don't know.
NASA has selected Chenega Global Protection, LLC,
Amazon. Off.
Chantilly, Virginia,
Amazon.
to receive the
Off. Amazon. Tell us a joke.
The holiday sweater's so ugly. The Grinch stole everything, except the sweater.
No. All right. Peace. Oh, happy